Okay, for 18B, same thing. Like, it helps if you know what the graph looks like, but if you don't, you know, it's not really the end of the world. Just give yourself some kind of a sketch. It doesn't even have to be accurate, but the bigger the better. So notice my scale here is kind of awkward, but it says let's come up with 4 trapezoids. So trapezoid 1 would be right here. That's not a rectangle because this side and this side are not parallel. And then here could be trapezoid 2, trapezoid 3, and finally trapezoid 4. So again, my picture is super far off from what the actual function looks like, but this visual now helps me see that I've got 4 equally divided trapezoids from 3 to 5. So what's that going to make each of these lengths equal to?
Still 1/2.
Okay, still 1/2. Now, for the trapezoids, is this the base or the height? It's the height. You guys are used to trapezoids being turned like this in geometry class, but the bases are the things that are parallel to each other. The height is the distance between the base. So this is the height of each trapezoid. It's just turned on its side. The bases are like this. This would be base 1 and base 2 of the red trapezoid. Now, it's a little bit easier to remember the area of a rectangle for the left sum, right sum, and midpoints, but you also are required to know the area of a trapezoid. It is 1/2 height times the bases added together. So make sure you relearn that if you don't remember that from geometry. And I don't know, I guess it's optional, but if I'm adding up 4 areas, I like to make 4 big blanks to kind of manage my work because it does get messy. But all of these should have a divided by 2 because that's part of the trapezoid formula. All of them should have the height, and since these are equally divided, these are all 1/2. But then for my red trapezoid, here's the first base. How am I supposed to know this length?
So if you plug in 3 into the function.
Right, that's the y value when x is 3. Now, we did that in the last question, right?
Yeah.
And we got 1/2.
Yep.
Okay, and then over here, the right side of this length would be the y value when x is 3.5, or 7/2 is a fraction. Now I'm going to cheat and use what we did last question. What did we get for that?
Wouldn't it be 2/5?
Was it 2/5? Okay. Now the nice thing about trapezoidal ones is then they repeat. So here's the length of the right side of the red trapezoid, and here's the length of the left side of the purple trapezoid. How do those two compare? They're the same. So that 2/5 is a pain to find, but then you get to use it twice. Okay, and then this length, the left side of my black trapezoid comes from the y value when x is 4. Plug in 4 there, you get 1/3. And then what about the that's the same. Okay, so then this one's the same. You okay with why these are the same again? Okay. And now I need the right side of the black trapezoid, which would be the y value when x is 4.5. And what did we get when we did that in the last question?
2/7.
7ths. And then finally, the last part, this length would be f of 5, so 1/4.
Yep.
But the left side, his left side would be the same as this one, 2/7. Okay, so even if I did have a calculator in this question, good luck typing all that in without, missing a needed parentheses or something. So notice all of these have a 1/2 divided by 2. So to make my life easier, I would factor out that 1/4. Then I've got this guy that's a 1/2. And I've got this that's a 2/5, and this is a 2/5. So I really have 2 2/5. Then I have 2 1/3. Then I have 2 2/7. And then in the end, I only have the 1 1/4. Now it's much more manageable to put in the calculator. Now, you are welcome to approach the question slightly different if you prefer, but in the end, you're got to find the area of all 4 of those trapezoids. And if you think there's a cleaner, more efficient, less likely for mistakes way to do your work, then by all means, give it a shot and see what you do. But to me, I mean, that seems to be the most consistent way to keep up with these values without getting lost in our work. So as a decimal, you could do all of that, hit math, enter, and then you could change it to an exact answer should you need it. So again, pretty time consuming. The hardest thing in there is either doing the area of a trapezoid or finding out those links of the bases. But because it's a longer question, it is hard to not miss a sign or such. And for the same reason as I said for Part A, more often than not on the AP exam, usually these are tables. So that like this 1/2, this 2/5, the 1/3, the 2/7, the 1/4. So you can just find that information in the table quickly without having to compute it. Okay, anything that jumps out at you guys about that one that you need a reminder on? Or need steps of that I went through too fast? Yeah, if you didn't remember how to start it, it's probably, yeah, you might have a copy down for your homework grade right now, but it's probably a good idea to try it again to make sure that you can do those things without the hint.